Hello, beautiful soul. You don't need to fix yourself. You only need to come home. Welcome back to Softening into Momentum. I'm Miki, and I'm so glad you're here for week 2 of Permission to Be. Last week, we sat with our why. We looked at it, not as a verdict, but as a doorway. We asked what we were actually seeking beneath all those shoulds. This week, we go deeper. Because once you've seen your why clearly, the next question becomes, so why do I keep doing the thing I don't want to do? Have you ever asked yourself that? Really sat with the absurdity of it? I know I should stop. I want to stop. I've promised myself I'll stop, and then I don't. I do the thing again, the thing I said I wouldn't do. And then comes the shame spiral, the self-punishment, the what is wrong with me? What if the answer to what is wrong with me is nothing? Nothing is wrong with you. You are patterned. And today, we're going to learn how to become a student of those patterns instead of a prisoner of them. So settle in. We've got some beautiful ground to cover. One of the most profound teachings in all of Buddhism is called Pratītyasamutpāda, dependent origination. And don't worry, you don't need to remember that word. What you need to remember is this: nothing arises randomly. Every thought, every urge, every behavior you've ever had, it didn't come from nowhere. It arose because of conditions, because certain things were present, because the soil was prepared in a very specific way, and so this particular seed grew. This is not a moral teaching. The Buddha wasn't saying, you caused this, so it's your fault. He was saying, this arose because of that. And if you can see the that, you can change the this. Isn't that extraordinary? It means you're not defective. You're not uniquely broken. You're not the one person on earth who can't change. You are simply caught in a chain of conditions that keeps reproducing the same result. And chains can be understood. Chains can be loosened. Chains, eventually, can be released. Let me make this real. Let's say it's a Thursday evening. You've had a hard day. Maybe your boss was critical. Maybe you had an argument with someone that you love. Maybe nothing particularly terrible happened. You're just tired. That low-grade, bone-deep kind of tired that lives underneath everything. So, you get home. And somewhere between putting down your bag and opening the refrigerator, something shifts. There's a pull, a whisper, a little voice that says, "You deserve this. You've earned it. Just one. Just tonight." Sound familiar? Here's what dependent origination teaches us about that moment. That pull didn't appear from thin air. It arose because of a chain. And the chain looks something like this. Contact. Something happened. The stressful day, the criticism, the tiredness. Then a feeling. The contact created a feeling. An unpleasant sensation. Tightness in your chest. Heaviness. A subtle sense of, I need to escape this now. Craving. From that unpleasant feeling, craving arises. The desire for something to make this feeling go away. Anything. Right now. Clinging. You latch onto a specific solution. The drink. The scroll. The binge. The shopping cart. The text to the person you know isn't good for you. Action. You do the thing. And then comes the aftermath, the regret, the shame, the "I'll start over on Monday," which creates more unpleasant contact, which starts the chain all over again. Do you see it? It's a loop. Not a moral failing, a loop. And here's the revolutionary part. You don't have to break the whole loop at once. You just need to see it. Become a student of it. To notice, even once, the space between feeling and craving, the tiny gap where choice lives. Because there is a gap. It might be small. It might only last for a breath. But it's there. And every time you see it, even if you still do the thing, you've changed the chain. You've introduced awareness into a process that used to be completely automatic. That is not failure. That's practice. That's becoming a student of your patterns. You are not broken. You are patterned. And patterns can be understood. Here's something nobody told me when I got sober. The pattern isn't just the drinking. The drinking is the last link in the chain. By the time you're pouring the glass, you've already traveled a long way down the loop. In my own journey, I started to notice that the chain didn't begin with a craving for a drink. It began hours earlier, sometimes days earlier. It began with people-pleasing until I was empty. It began with saying yes when I meant no. It began with absorbing everyone else's emotions because I didn't know where they ended, and I began. By the time the late afternoon rolled around and my shift at work was over, I was so depleted, so overextended, so far from myself that the drink wasn't even really about the alcohol. It was about relief. It was the only tool that I had to close the distance between who I was performing as and who I actually was. When I started studying the pattern, not judging it, studying it, everything shifted. I started asking different questions. Not why can't I stop, but what happened before the wanting? Not what's wrong with me, but what conditions were present? And the answers were always there. They were always specific, always traceable. I hadn't slept well. I'd said yes to something that drained me. I hadn't eaten. I'd been performing a version of myself that wasn't even real. I'd been sitting in discomfort without any tools to regulate myself. The drink wasn't the problem. The drink was the solution, the only one that I had at the time. And when I understood that, I could stop punishing myself for being resourceful in a moment of pain. I could then start building other solutions instead. That's what we're doing here. We're not white-knuckling. We're learning. You are a student of your patterns. And students don't fail. They observe. They take notes. They try again. And now, beautiful souls, we will move into a short, guided meditation, watching the wave. Find a comfortable position, and let's close our eyes or soften your gaze, whatever helps you turn inward. And take a breath, a generous one. Fill your lungs like you're making room for something new, and release. Again, inhale. Let the exhale be a letting go, not just of air, of effort, of trying. Now, bring to mind a pattern you've been struggling with. It doesn't have to be the biggest one, just one that's been showing up lately. One that feels familiar and frustrating, and maybe a little exhausting. Don't judge it, just name it quietly to yourself. I see you. Now, I want you to imagine yourself standing on a beach. The water is calm, but not still. There are waves, not crashing, dramatic waves, gentle ones, rolling in, rolling out. The rhythm of something much larger than you. Each wave represents an urge, a pull, the moment when the pattern wants to run. Watch a wave begin to form in the distance. See it building. This is the contact, the moment something triggers the chain. Maybe it's a feeling, a memory, a sensation in your body. The wave is building, and as it builds, you might feel a tightening, a leaning forward, a pull toward the water. This is the craving, the wanting it to arrive so you can do something with it. But here's what I want you to practice. Don't move. Don't wade in. Just watch. Watch the wave build. Watch it rise. Feel the pull of it and stay on the shore. Now watch what happens. The wave reaches its peak and it begins to fall. Not because you fought it, not because you resisted it, because that's what waves do. They rise. They crest, and they dissolve every single time. The urge is a wave. It will peak, and it will pass. Another wave is coming. Watch it. Feel it building. Notice where you feel it in your body. Your chest, your throat, your hands. Notice the pull. And breathe. Stay on the shore. Let this one pass too. Now, as you watch the waves, I want you to say this to yourself. This is a pattern. It's not me. This is a wave. It will pass. I can watch without wading in. Take one more breath in and out, deep and slow. Feel your feet on the shore, solid and grounded. You didn't have to fight the ocean. You just had to learn to stand here. When you're ready, slowly, gently come back to the room and open your eyes. Welcome back, beautiful soul. You did something important today. You looked at a pattern, not with shame, but with curiosity. That takes courage, real courage, the quiet kind that nobody else sees. Thank you for allowing me to witness it. This week, I want to offer you a gift. I've created a free workbook, a companion to this season that helps you map your own loops, your own chains, not to judge them, but to understand them. Because understanding is the beginning of freedom. You can download it through the link in the show notes. It's free. It's yours. Use it however it feels right. And if you're ready, I'll meet you there. The Softening into Momentum podcast is lovingly curated, created, written, edited, and produced by me, Miki Byrne, with accompanying sound bath frequencies by my good friend, Static. If you would like to dive further into his incredible musical work, please go to YouTube at Static is Noise. You can get your copy of my book, Permission to Be, a memoir about sobriety, self-trust, and learning to come home to yourself, in print, ebook format, as well as the intimate audiobook experience available exclusively inside the Metta Momentum Sangha. All links in the show notes. Thank you for softening into this moment with me. Until we meet again, Namaste.